Good morning, girls.
Hey, ladies. Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with Courage today.
When we talk about recap, Courage is also like song lyric, song artist, we're like, what, where? She started doing this thing, which y'all got to listen out for. Follow Courage's IG. She's like been talking to Olivia and I in song lyrics, and it's so freaking aggy. So we're just having a regular conversation, asking her kind of serious questions, and she's responding in song lyrics. And we're like, what are you doing? So I have been like, please do that on your shorts because we want to experience this. It's actually very funny, and see if people can guess the song.
Welcome to our podcast. Hey guys, my name is Olivia Hayward.
What's up? It's your girl, Courage Molina.
Oh, it's Amber Likens, and this is my CEO Squad. Before you leave our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you never miss an upload. In the comments, let us know where you're tuning in from, and we cannot wait to get to know you more. Let's go ahead and start this conversation.
Yes. First of all, y'all know I'm a walking jukebox.
You are.
I love music. I don't even know why this song is in my head because I literally haven't listened to anything. I don't want your man. That's just what I don't know why. I haven't heard it, but sometimes you just get like a little song down in your soul and you just gotta go with it, you know? And I also I low-key want to live my life like a sitcom sometimes. So like if I were in a sitcom, what would my character do right now in this very serious situation? My character would respond by talking in song lyrics and not giving a real answer because that's funny, and only the people who know the song know.
So funny.
First of all, every time she tried to do that to us, we knew right away. I was like, I don't know what you're trying to do, but we know that's the song. And
it's annoying. Yeah, because we actually want an answer, and she doesn't give us an answer.
Oh, gosh. It's just a good time. You know, you just got to have fun in life.
Yeah, you definitely having fun now. The kids keep saying stuff. We've been listening to Carrie Underwood's album a lot, like her most recent one. And then I always ask them, like, do you have a song, like, request or whatever for the drive to school or home? And Cruz keeps saying karaoke. And Maddox is like, he means Carrie Underwood. He's like, no, I don't. I mean karaoke. I'm going to be singing. So he is like belting out. And I'm like, you encourage you to have a session.
I have not had a karaoke session in a minute. Y'all know I will do karaoke by myself. In my room, I pretend like I have an audience in here. So you guys, if you could just envision it, I have so I have a microphone. I do have a microphone, but it doesn't have a stand. But I pretend like it has a stand, even though I hold it. I just use my tripod so that it's up at my mouth area. So it just feels like that's my mic stand. And I turn it up and I belt it out. And I say thank you. Like sometimes I'm on tour. I'm like, thank you, Cleveland. I'm so excited to be here. Atlanta.
You're dropping the city.
What's up, Atlanta? I'm so glad that y'all are here supporting me. You know, about to get this record deal. And I have a mirror so I can see myself also. Like I have a mirror so I can see. Because you want to see your performance, guys. You want to make sure that you're doing it right. I have a whole karaoke playlist, and then I can play the lyrics. I can play the lyrics on the TV, which is mounted on the wall, right? And so it's connected to my Bluetooth to the actual song. And I'm going to tell you this, nothing gives you more confidence as a person who cannot carry a note in a tune than to have the actual singer singing as your backup, because it just gives you this false sense of like, oh, I can hit that note.
First of all, you talk about all the time for years. We have had conversations and Courage is like, I can't wait until I'm so freaking filthy rich that I can just do crazy stuff. I can imagine you building just out of nowhere your own stage, your own recording studio. And people are like, oh my gosh, what are you going to be doing? You're like, it's for personal use, guys.
Yes. Listen, my husband's brother bought a house or whatever, and they have it remodeled. They're remodeling it or whatever. And he never told me this because I hadn't been down there to see the house. They haven't moved in or anything. He's like, in the back, he said, there's this stage in the backyard. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I guess like whoever owned it, maybe they used to do like training or like music instrument teaching people how to like kids or something. And so they would do like recitals in the backyard and they would have them up there on stage and there are lights on the ground that point up to the stage. I was like, how did I never in all of my imagining think that I could have this in my dream home? I'm like, that is going on the freaking list of my dream home right there. Yes. Can you guys imagine that? Oh
no, I can't wait. So I want to be in the recording studio with you. Actually, I want us three because Olivia, y'all hear her all the time in every episode. She's like hitting that high note at the beginning, Mariah Carey style. She's like, "Welcome to our podcast." Like she is Olivia, and all of us have to be in the recording studio. Encourages recording studio. She's gonna set it up.
Listen, my husband and I, we've been together for a very long time. We started dating. You know what I'm about to tell the story, Olivia? Listen, ladies, I want to give you some advice. Let me tell you how these men will lie to you so that you can love them, and then they mistreat you once they marry you. Let me just tell you the sad story of my life. So Mike and I started dating when I was in high school. And so one of our dates was to the boardwalk in Daytona Beach. That's like in the 99 and the 2000, like before, like 1997 or something like that. So we used to go out there.
I was in middle school.
Wow. I was in high school. Okay. And it's probably like in 10th grade. And so we were out there. We were like on a date. It's during the daytime. And they had all these like, you know what it's at a boardwalk. They just got all these games and stuff like that. I ain't never seen one of these since then. It was the best thing I ever saw. It was a recording studio out on the boardwalk. So it was like a booth. It had like tinted windows, but you could kind of see a little bit. It had the mic coming from the ceiling, and you would go into the booth and people couldn't hear you, but they could see you, right? And then you would sing your song and it would record it and it would drop out a cassette tape of your recording. Yes, it's like the best thing ever. And so Mike, the little trickster, this is what I'm saying. These men lied to you, bruh. Lie. He would pay for me to go in there. We would be at the boardwalk and I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I want to go in there. Pay for me to go in there. First of all, who did I sing? Whitney Houston. Okay. I chose the great Whitney Houston. I think it was like, You're All the Man I Need or Saving All My Love. Something like that. It was something super sappy, right? Because I was thinking about him while I was singing it. And then I go in the booth. You close the booth. It's soundproof. People cannot hear you singing. And then you're singing, the music's in your headphones. So it's like a performance, right? Because now these people are gathered around because y'all know me. Have y'all met me? Y'all know I'm giving a performance of a lifetime. Drops that cassette out. Do you know he used to drive a Thunderbird? I think a Cougar. Maybe he drove a Cougar. I don't know what he drove. But on the like after the date was over, I would just have my tape just like waiting to get home so I could hear it. And he'd be like, "Oh, you want to hear it? Let's put it in." And he would play it in the car and be like, "Oh, you sound so good." He was just lying. Y'all know what he was after. He probably got it too. But I married him, and now he acts like he can't even be he behaves like he can't even be in the house. I'm gonna remind him. I forgot about this actually. I buried this.
Traumatic.
This traumatic because now he behaves like he can't even be in the house when I'm singing karaoke. Like not in the room, he's outside. Him and the dogs are outside. I'm like, babe, why are you outside? Come on in. I'm doing the show. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna ask him today. Do you remember how you used to pay for me to get it, and then you would be putting it in your little car? Now all of a sudden I can't sing. You be like, oh, you sound good. I should have known he was lying.
First of all, you talk about Olivia and I burying stuff, and you're like, you need to bring this up. That's a great story. Really pull from the inside. Girl, you've been burying too much.
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
That
Oh,
is so funny.
wait. Just wait till the day I'm going to do karaoke today. And when he wants to sit outside, I'm going to let him have it.
Remember when she gonna set him up.
First of all, that is so funny. Oh my gosh. 9 minutes in, I don't even know what we've talked about except reminiscing.
Nothing. We talked about nothing.
This is when you know we haven't spoken all weekend. Honestly, because this is regular phone conversations right here. I've got to tell y'all, I want to dive into some stuff right now, and I'm like, should I dive in right now?
Oh my God. First of all, I'm a little nervous because it could either be something super deep or like, oh, that's nothing. You just don't know where this is gonna go.
Yeah, but we haven't talked about what we've been doing all weekend. Does it even matter right now? I don't know.
Just dive in. Just go.
Okay, listen, the Chrisleys. They're gone.
Oh my
and
God.
the mom is not in Tallahassee.
I know, Kentucky. I know.
You said that the other day. You were like, I don't even think she's going there, and she's not. She's in Kentucky, and he's in Florida, right somewhere. I can't, with all my being, grasp in my head how they are even functioning, how they are even doing this. It's crazy to me, and other crazy things. Morphe Cosmetics, so much information this weekend that I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? They owe many influencers so much money. They are
okay,
done.
And you owe me. You actually owe me. I'm glad that you brought Morphe up. I hate to cut you off, but I need my money back. So you and I went to get. Yeah, I'm gonna find out how much I pay. I will be sending you a cash app request.
Sending me nothing. I got.
I'm sending you a cash app request today. No, you took me. We went to Ulta.
I told you it wasn't a good palette.
I didn't buy that palette. See, you're defending yourself, but you know what you did tell me to buy? You actually picked them out with your own hands and gave them to me. That you gave me their blending things. And then on one of these last calls or something we were on.
Wait a second.
Yes. Make me get
what?
Blending brushes. Brushes for my shadow. And then you said on a call, you were like, oh, their blending brushes are not that good. And I was thinking to myself, I ain't gonna bring this up on the podcast because it's really petty. It probably only cost me like $20 maybe, but I want my money. I'm about to go to Ulta today to find out how much they were. I'll be sending you a cash out request. Amber Michelle Likens. Okay. I want you to give me I'm sending it today.
Listen, though, I do have some of their brushes too, and I don't want to throw them out. Their makeup is
fine. No, I didn't buy their makeup, but you were like, oh, here, buy this. You led me astray.
First of all, let me just stop y'all right here.
Go ahead.
It has nothing to do with Morphe. It's more to do with their owner, which is Former Brands. That's the company that went bankrupt, and they have all these subsidiaries under them, like Jaclyn Hill, Morphe 2, this other brand, Random Brands. They just went bankrupt. It doesn't mean that their products are bad. It just means that they opened up a bunch of brick and mortar stores, which they were formerly online only for much years. They thrived with the influencers that they had working with them.
I'm not even saying that's why they're going out. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying on this call, she said it wasn't a good blender, but it's the exact blender she told me to purchase. That's all. I don't know nothing about no makeup companies. I don't know anything about anything. I trusted the number one beauty educator, and this is what she told me to get.
Calm down. I don't even get paid to tell you that. We were in the store. Out of the makeup brushes that I had experienced outside of what I'd been using, I'm like, use these brushes, right? That's just from my knowledge. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. But I just can't. Yeah, Olivia's right. Like, it's just, first of all, we were on the phone Friday. I think it was Friday. And within 5 minutes of Olivia and I having a conversation, I was mind blown by information about retailers. And I told the kids, and then I told Alan, and we're all just like, yep. Okay, so we got to hit on this real quick.
Yeah, let's get we're about to get serious.
We're about to get serious. Eye level is bi level. I can't get that out of my head. Okay, do y'all hear me when I say this?
Yes.
Eye level.
It's bi level.
Eye level, right? Cash.
Yes.
And Olivia was like, you know what? The more she kept reading, and she's like, and the milk is on the other side of the store. produce is on this side of the store. They got you going all in between just to get to, you passing everything, eye candy, all the things that you didn't need, but you purchased it. So that's something else. Alan was also bringing up, he was like, yeah, people tell you all the time, you stay on the outskirts of the store. You don't go in the inside of the aisles, you go on the outskirts, and that's really all you need. That's the produce, that's the dairy, it's the meat, whatever. It's like all right there on the outskirts.
Vegetables,
vegetables and things like that. So it's just like, with the Chrisleys, that's just a big conversation. With Morphe and just hitting on that and just thinking about like one day having product in a store, what does that look like? Well, there's so much that the actual average person on the streets does not understand about retail. And even someone that we sell a product, right? It's like, I didn't even think of that. It's just like, I know I'm being marketed to, but I'm not even thinking that. So eye levels by level, that's blowing my mind.
Well, let's just break down what you're talking about, because you're just saying eye levels by level.
I know. I don't feel like I have the words. I'm just shook. So let's talk about it.
So I don't know how I came upon this. I can't remember how I came upon it, but it was because I think I was listening about the Morphe and all of that kind of stuff, and Ulta, and the guy had said, they have to pay to be, have the big, have the window, and just like stores have to pay to be on the eye level shelf. And when he said that, I was like, they do? Really? And then so I looked it up, and it was like, yes. And then I was finding, yes, retailers do charge you more if you want to be on eye level, because eye level is by level. So when you go into the grocery stores, everything that's eye level is generally the most expensive. People have paid to be on that spot. They always put the cheaper brands below the higher brands above. They also do children's eye level. So that's another thing. They put the more colorful, shiny things that they want to attract kids. They put that on their eye level. So when you go in the store, that they can be influenced as well. So I was reading this stuff and learning about this stuff, and I was like, first of all, never even thought about.
Maybe it's because I worked at the grocery store, because I'm like, how y'all didn't notice?
Yeah, I didn't think about the brands paying. Yes, I thought about, oh yes, they're putting stuff in strategic places so you can buy it. That's, that's marketing, right? But just thinking about the next level of, okay, if you have a product, you have to pay extra to be on this shelf. That is eye level.
End caps also, right?
Yeah.
End caps.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Being where you are, if you are where you are in relation to the store too, right? Like not just eye level, but like, am I in the back? Am I in the front? Right? There are things that people are going to the store for. Where on that journey do you want to be? Everybody's doing that too, right? GPS does that too, by the way, just so we're clear. Mm-hmm. They are getting, the GPS is free for you, Waze, maps, whatever. Somebody is paying for that. You think they're just doing it out of the goodness of their heart? They not. Mm-hmm. Hello. They are being paid to send you to certain routes. If you just pick a route, you're going to go past some business or something. And the same is true in retail space. Maybe it's because I wanted to be in Walmart for something. Like, I don't know if I had a product or what, but I started looking at like, what does it take to get into the store? I feel like this was years and years ago. And they were talking about how it's so difficult because the bigger companies, the most popular brand is not necessarily the best product. It is just the product that has the most money to pay for placement, right? That's what we're talking about, placement. Yeah, they have the most money to pay for placement, so they can pay for that optimal eye level, that shelf level. That's why you see all those toys and that junk nobody needs candy at checkout. How long is your line going to be? That I'm going to starve to death waiting to get my stuff rung up? No. It doesn't need to be here. You're selling things all throughout, but it's being sold to you right there at a higher price. It's the same exact product, actually, that you could get on another aisle. You could get that candy, that bubble gum. You can get the potato chips on another aisle for less money per unit in the same store than they're selling it to you for right there at checkout. Why? Because now you're ready to go. You do want a snack. You're not going to go back to the aisle to get the 5-pack of, candy or whatever that they got right back there. They got a bag full of candy. You're not going back there to get it. You're going to pay $2 for that candy bar. You're going to pay $1.50 for a small bag of chips. For 50 cents, you can get a bag of chips, same brand, same size, for like 50 cents more. It's all about placement. Same thing with magazines, right, Olivia? When it comes to ad placement, you are paying to be on the inside front cover. You're paying to be on the back. You're paying to be on the inside flap, right? That money, that is like luxury real estate right there for things. So ain't nobody, you ain't getting nothing for free now. You paying for it all the time.
And you always get it marketed. Like people, I just think it's strange because I feel like people are like, oh, they don't want to see ads on certain things. I don't want ads on that. I'm like, you getting marketed every step of your life. So just buy what you need.
Yeah. Product placement's gotten different now too, right? It's not like the old, everything is not a commercial. It's product placement. If I'm watching a show and I love the show and my favorite character, she is always wearing Nike shoes, then what do I see all the time without you telling me? Nike shoes. And I like her. I like the life she's living. She's made all these choices. It's like she's living this grand life. Shoot, now I want some Nikes. I know just because I have on a pair of Nikes doesn't mean I'm gonna have her life, but subconsciously it's seeped in. And so now when you're thinking about shoes, what do you envision yourself wearing, living your best life? Whatever your favorite actress is wearing on your show. It's why you got a Mac. I'm not saying that Mac ain't good. I got one. I got Apple. Hello. And we Apple products over here, so I ain't mad. But product placement, I don't have to tell you to buy it. I'm not going to give you the specs. I'm just going to put it on a highly rated TV show. I'm going to pay to have it on a highly rated TV show. That's why when you see these Hallmark shows, and I love Hallmark, and they have their computers, they have like a pear instead of an apple, which still,
really?
Right? They have like a pineapple. I'm like, what? Instead of like the Apple logo on the back, because it's like a refusal for product placement. I still think it's subliminal, because when I think of a fruit, I think Apple.
Think of Apple
because it's a laptop. So y'all are not that slick, but yeah.
Yeah. It blows my mind. I think that's really what it was, is paying for the placement in the store. That kind of, I think if I would have had a conversation about that, if we were discussing, they're like, yeah, well, if you want to be here, we charge more for that or whatever, I kind of maybe would have been like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. But as a regular person that shops retail, I've never even thought about it at all. Like, never thought about it. I just figured the management at the store or whatever, they decided what looked better and what the flow was when people shop. Right. But, it's wild to me. I never thought about it. And I can totally get how companies kind of get in over their head too. When it comes to marketing and where to put things and, the ads, it adds up. And so that kind of plays back to Morphe with all these brick and mortar stores. They were doing so well online. They're like, we're going to do so. All these people are shopping online. Let's open up some retail stores. I don't know all the logistics behind it, but I just imagine you're doing really well, so let's open up brick and mortar. Great, it's going to do well too. But those are two different audiences. People that shop retail don't always shop online, vice versa. And so I always find that very interesting, that I'm like, if it was going that well, why would you change it? But obviously I think they changed ownership, and they were probably going with another strategy, and they're
probably following trends. There's a trend, right? They're not. I don't think that at that level they're just making it up, but that's just it, right? And I think that's important for entrepreneurs, is that you can have the trend, you can have the data that backs up that this is what other companies who have the same position as you are doing. This is what the other brands are doing, and they're being wildly successful. It's just a gamble, right? It's all just a gamble. You can't be certain you can have some predictors and some things that give you some insight. And that's probably what they use. I can't imagine that they just like woke up without any number or research behind it. They had the research to back it up, that this is going to be a good move. They made the move, and it turns out it wasn't true for their buyers. But what they found out, hopefully not to their ultimate detriment, but what they found out is that their customers, they've learned more about their customer base, right? And hoping that they haven't done it at the detriment of their company, right? But that they've learned more about their customer base. Our customers, your customers buying online and in store. Our customers, these people who love us, they're not going to the store. These are millennials. These are these Gen Zs. They doing everything online. They don't even want to talk to a checkout person, right? Like,
That's first of all, the amount of Gen Zs that say that they don't want to talk to people. Like, I've been watching these vlogs and these girls, they're mostly Gen Zs, and they're like, oh yeah, they get this social anxiety. They don't want to talk to people. This one girl was like, she was going somewhere and she was like, yeah, I just left because I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was like, wow. Like, I feel like I don't want to talk to a lot of people, but if I need to get something done, I'm going to talk to them, right? I'm going to interact. No,
they're ordering down online.
And they don't want to call if
they don't want to call. No, they need you to. So Micah, she's like probably on the cusp, Gen Z, Gen X. She's like probably right on that little whatever. Mm-hmm. Baby, if she's not a Gen Z, she act like it because she doesn't want to call to make an appointment. Can I make an appointment online? Well, you know that when you get there, you're going to have to talk to a human being, right? But they want to minimize it down to nothing. So while I may shop both online and in the store, I want to go out. I want to get out. It's like they're going out because they absolutely have to, because they want to see each other. But it's like they're all just dying to run back to their little corners or whatever. And that's their generation. So just assuming that your client base is going to do that or believing it, right? It just proved to be inaccurate, and now they got a better idea. They might not have known that they have mostly Gen Z or Gen Z lookalikes.
Well, and that's the thing. I think, they do. Their products are a little bit cheaper, so I feel like it's for younger folks. They're just starting. When they're starting to get makeup, it's like, oh, they can get this, and they're a little bit more reasonable than the bigger brands. Also, I think another thing was Morphe. If they're going to try to compete with Sephora, Ulta, or something like that, which Sephora, you'll see those in a lot of malls. Well, that store has a lot of different brands in their store. So when Morphe went into their brick and mortars, they only were selling Morphe and then their brands like Jaclyn Hill or James Charles and Jeffree Star or whatever. So they had those influencer brands in their store, obviously, because there was brands that was collaborated with them or they owned. So that's all they had in their stores.
I don't think I realized that.
I think that was a big problem too. Because if you're going to try to compete with other people, like I feel like they should have maybe tried to get more partnerships to get more brands or things in their store, if that's what they were going for. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of people say, I don't know what their trajectory was or how many stores they were opening up, but I think they maybe they should have opened up maybe 2 in different areas. But I think they opened like 12 or 15 stores in a matter of like a year or so. So it was like in big spaces, not like in this little town. They were doing it in, in all these big popular towns, but I think and probably had very high overhead and rent and things like that. So it's like they didn't have a chance to really see how it was going to do, so they probably should have went a little bit slower.
And listen, this is not like a judgment thing, right? But you have got to be, listen, it is so important as business owners for you to be paying attention to what other people are doing, because now I can learn a lesson. This is not like tear Morphe down. It is like everybody know, everybody's got a better idea of how they could have, should have, would have done it because of how it turned out, right? And so it's easy for us to sit here and say that. And I'm not saying that we're wrong in doing it. I'm saying that as a business owner, it is smart. It is wisdom for me to look at what other big brands are doing, good, bad, things that worked well, things that didn't work well. Like, it's important for us to do that. I think it's important for us to go big or go home a lot of times. And that's probably the attitude they had. That's the attitude that we have. But what I think is important is like, this might have been a fail for them, right? This might have been a fail for them, right? These stores are shutting down or whatever. It doesn't mean that it's the end of it. That's one. No. It doesn't mean that it's the end of their makeup and they never should have done it. Second thing is too, they're not the only ones that went big. There are lots of people who did things, lots of companies in the history of makeup that have launched something that was revolutionary at the time, that was crazy, that nobody had ever seen before, that didn't make any sense, and they were wildly successful. Mm-hmm. You don't know which way the cookie is going to go for you. The best you can do is make a decision with the information that you have and go all in at the level that you feel going all in with.
Yeah.
And just like rebounding back from that, learning the lessons from it and deciding what you're going to do, in this next season, so I'll be interested to see what happens like in the coming year or years, if they relaunch, if they rebrand, if they go another way. It reminds me of Justice. Y'all probably don't remember that store. Mm-hmm. You remember that store, Justice? It was for girls. When my kids were coming up, when my girls were coming up, it was like a super cute store, a little more high end than like Target or Sears and JCPenney's, but the fashion was super cute. Not sure when they took a downturn, if it was at the pandemic, but you know what I saw them? I know that their store is closed, at least here in Charlotte. Do you know where I saw them at? In Walmart. They're in Walmart.
Oh.
Yeah, they have a whole section in Walmart. It's the Justice section. It looks just like the old cutesy Justice.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, if you just look at that one thing, like, oh my gosh, it sucks. They were unable to adjust to the changes in the market. And so they closed down all these stores. It doesn't mean that the brand is not viable. It doesn't mean that it's going to die. It just means that there needs to be a pivot. There might need to be some collaboration or something to get it back out to your customer. And now they're in Walmart. I'm sure they are making tons of money in Walmart. I don't even have kids that age. And I was like, oh, I could buy something for my cousins just because it's so cute. And it's much more affordable than it was before. So I'll be interested to see like what happens with Morphe in the years to come.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be around. They'll pick up some new influencers, because those 3 influencers really took them to the top really fast online. And I just Googled it. They actually opened up 20 stores in the U.S. and they had some out internationally too. So I think that was just like a big undertaking. So that probably. Yeah. And they owe those influencers a lot of money too in the bankruptcy.
Well, I was just going to say that. And I'm like, I don't know as an influencer if I'd be like, yes, I'm here to work with you now. And they like,
not them, money. But maybe some other.
Yeah. Well, some other ones. I know, but I don't even feel like I would even want to do that.
But yeah, that's you because you know about it. But they can get some little young person that I don't even know about they bankruptcy.
Yeah,
in a couple of years.
So like I hadn't even Googled it. Exactly. Yeah, don't even know about it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know they did get 2 girls from TikTok that had nothing to do with makeup. So that's what I keep hearing about. And they're like, why did they go from makeup influencers when you have a makeup brand? And now they like dropped all them and then went to 2 girls that did a lot. They got a lot of views and had a lot of followers, but they did more dancing on TikTok, nothing to do with makeup. And it didn't do well. That was with the Morphe 2 line. I'm like, I don't know. It's very interesting. Like, why would you choose that? I don't know. But
yeah, maybe they had Jacqueline Hill. This is the thing too. I feel like people, someone said this on the article I read. It's like, they probably was leading all their strategy on the ones. But this is the thing. Once these influencers like Jacqueline Hill, Jeffree Star, James Charles, a lot of them who were, the OG YouTubers and was pumping out YouTube videos talking about their product every single week. Now that they've got to a certain status, being their partnerships, being their brands, bringing in checks, they don't do that anymore, right? So it's like they're not being consistent on the platform talking about the products. Even, I feel like Jacqueline Hill, she should, because she has a whole brand there, but even she doesn't, so I think that's like, they should have figured out, who is the next new makeup people coming up, not just hang your hat on 3 people. I'm not saying they did. Maybe they had more. Obviously, I know Morphe worked with a lot more influencers, but I'm just saying those were their 3 big ones that they worked with. So maybe they should have here's our next one coming in who's actually making consistent content around makeup. Let's really get in, partner with them or something like that. Not saying that they did, but
I think that's very encouraging for people who have a personal brand or lifestyle, or they are developing as a influencer, that you think you can't compete with these big numbers, but the truth is you are so hungry. And if I'm a brand and I'm looking for somebody to promote my stuff, I'm looking for somebody who is super hungry to get their name out there, who is really wants to be an influencer, who is and we talked about this in is it Ready Set Record? I think we talked about this in Ready Set Record, right? And that's Olivia and Amber's program. If you don't know about it, you must live under a rock. You need to check it out. I'm sure there's a link to something. They can drop a link. But there was a training they were doing, and we were talking about YouTube, right? Like, because that's what it is, to help you get your YouTube channel or whatever. And it's like they're gonna teach you all the parts that you need to have so that you have the greatest chance of attracting people to your YouTube channel. But sometimes you can look at other people who have 1 million followers and you're like, well, they're not doing that. Well, they don't have to, because they got 1 million followers. So they can do whatever they want to do. They don't have to talk about the name of their product because they're already doing all these things. But you young blood, you newbie on the block, you are so hungry. There are brands who want you because they understand that you don't have the luxury of not showing up every single week. And people like Beyonce could start a YouTube today. You're not Beyonce. Yeah. So you got to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? You've got to be consistent. And so as a brand who's looking for an influencer, I could see them looking for somebody who doesn't necessarily have 100,000 followers or subscribers. I say that to encourage you so that you can shoot your shot. Because you think they got all these big names, but maybe the tide is turning and they are now looking for some newbies in the field because the season with the big dogs is over and they're looking for a fresh new face. It could be you, true. But you don't know that. So put yourself out there, guys.
I love that. Oh, that was super encouraging. Well, speaking about like finances and money and business and all types of things and people making decisions about the Chrisley family, I don't know. I mean, I obviously have been watching a lot of first I will say Savannah's podcast. I've listened to that, several episodes of that, right? Of when the parents are on there talking or just she's kind of talking about it, but that's one side. So then we have these channels of like lawyers speaking about it. And I think there's a lot of logistics behind it. Obviously there's mess ups. They're obviously serving time. I hope they don't have to serve their whole time. I mean, I don't know. It's just a long time. My heart breaks for anybody in prison, to be honest with you. I just think that's such a horrible thing. Even if
unless you committed heinous crime.
Well, also, if you're committing really, really terrible crimes, it's also very sad that you committed these crimes and you're serving time. Like my heart breaks for that person. They're broken in some way. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're just super psycho. But it's just, I'm like, for this family right here, I don't know how they're doing it. I think I saw something. Sometimes like stuff pops up on my YouTube and I don't even click the video. I just am reading the captions of it, of like what the people are saying. And they went through their schedule of like what it looks like for them. It said like day one of them in prison or whatever. What is their schedule? And I'm like, first of all, how do they have this schedule? Like, who knows this? Is this made up? But it's like 4 a.m. wake up call. 4:30, the beds have to be tidy, military style. 5 o'clock, it's this. Check in at work from this hour to this hour. Like all these things, boom, 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 boom. Lights out at 7 or 6 or something like that or whatever. And then you start again. I'm like, oh my word. Like what is going on in their mind? And they say, I don't know them personally, but they say they are believers in Christ and they are followers and they are professing and all the things all the time, right? So they are just feeling really like God is going to get us through this and their faith is coming through, right? So I think that is amazing. I don't know what else is going to get you through a terrible time unless you got some dang faith, because that's literally all you got to hang on to every day. But I mean, it's really sad.
I think it's sad. I mean, I think it's sad people go to jail. I do. I think it's sad. Couple things though, right? Here, a couple things.
12 years. 12 years. I mean,
that's a long time. I'm checking out Kingston. My dog's in here. He was doing pretty good for a second. Here's the thing that I wonder. what part of your faith led you to live a life that led you to this place?
I know.
I wonder, where was your faith then? And I don't mean that from like a judgmental place. I just mean that, like, a lot of times we as believers, we profess a lifestyle, and we say all this like Christian stuff, and this we know the lyrics, but we don't have the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? I think there is certainly a brokenness to people who commit crimes. I don't care what kind of crime they committed, whether they are a serial killer. Like, there is a brokenness, because people who are mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy, these are not the people who are committing crimes. I'm not talking about people who have defended themselves and their homes and their life, and their family. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, you broke the law, right? You stole, you robbed, you're selling drugs. There is a brokenness that is happening. That those are the choices that you make. Like, these are the choices that you're making. I'm speechless. But I'm telling you though, I don't know that my heart breaks. I think on some level it's very sad if I think about them and how they have family and what their life is going to be like as they live in prison. Certainly,
yes.
But maybe it's because of like, we all like see things through the lens of how we grew up or our experiences or whatever. There are crimes that they committed that were not crimes of like need necessarily. I saw this clip, this lady, I don't know what the heck she was stealing from the store, but she was stealing something from Walgreens. I don't know if they were pads or diapers. I don't know what the heck this lady was stealing. But when I tell you she broke the door to get out, now that was crazy.
Oh!
You know what I'm talking about?
She broke the door?
Yeah, it was like a glass door. Like, they were tracing her, and like it wouldn't open. And
keep her in.
And she just broke it, right? And didn't break the glass, but it came off of the rail or whatever. That's a crime. She committed a crime. Right? She committed a crime. She gets caught. She's going to have to do the time. But was she stealing tampons? Because that seems like a need if I didn't have money to buy tampons. I don't know if they were tampons or pads or if they were diapers, but she was stealing something that seems like a necessity to me. She was not stealing so that she could fly first class and drive a Rolls Royce. I just have a little less sympathy for those types of crimes. And my prayer, because I don't want to be self-righteous, I think that anybody could get there. I don't think I'm too kind, too great, too whatever, that I could never get to a place. My prayer is that I never get to a place where I want the things, right, more than I want to live the way that God has called me to live. I never want to get into a situation where I have a fear of living like a normal person, paying normal bills, having a normal house, because I got so big. Like, the thought of going back to a smaller house or going back to coach or going back to commercial flights, that is going to cause me such pain that I would rather rob and steal to get it. I also don't feel that bad for the banks. And I say this all the time, and I'm going to say it again. And I'm going to say this because I'm telling you right now, if they were people of color, there are some crimes in the United States of America that can only be committed by people who look like the Chrisleys, because they are checking and double checking your pay, your money, your credit. They are making sure that you have that money in the bank. You're not about to get over on no bank and you are black and brown, not at this high hundreds and thousands. You telling me these people were able to get hundreds and thousands of dollars and there were no checks and balances based on what? The banking system. It brings me back to Anna Delvey. I mean, that's why I feel like I don't feel that bad. I don't feel that bad for the lawyer who got duped. I feel bad for the lady whose credit she used, because she just got a habit of shopping.
Yeah.
Not her friend.
No, I know, not the friend.
Wait,
who? The lady,
was an older lady
who she was shopping in the store. Remember?
Oh, yeah. And she would go and just put it on her account.
Yes.
Oh,
I felt bad for her, right? Because she probably shop a lot. That bill ain't, that's the life she live. I ain't mad at that. Okay. She gave her access so that she could shop for her and so that she was being kind to her so that she could get a couple things, right? So that I felt bad for her, but not that bad because she got her money back, hush through the insurance. She didn't even report her, right? She got it back from the insurance company. Okay, cool. Her friend, The hotels. Let me tell you something. I can't get a key to. I can't get a key to Motel 6 without a credit card on.
You know what,
file.
Courage? You can't. You have. Let's talk about this. You have paid for a room. You have checked in, and you lost your key. And they won't even give you a key because they think that you scamming them. And you're like, I literally just checked in. I just lost my key. And they make you feel like you're a criminal. Trying to get on. Oh my gosh.
But you let her come in. She got a room. Y'all allowed her to charge things to the room. A suite. And you had nothing on. Like those crimes. I'm just saying. I as a Black woman in America, fine, it's a crime. I want people to do the time, right? Cool. I want you to do the time. But for the side of like the victim is the hotel, the victim is the banking industry. Cry me a river. I do not care. The lawyer who did all that time for her, did all this, all this work for her, never got a retainer. Listen, we know that I can get, that you can give your lawyer money. Lawyer got paid and I can't get you to do work for me. You didn't get paid and you put in 40 hours at a partner level. I ain't crying for you.
Well, because it's about the crime sad. Because he kept saying on the phone to people, he was like, but you know where her dad is. Like, you know who she is. No, nobody knows who she is. She's lying. Like, I just always thought like, but you haven't even spoken to anybody.
Yeah, you have not verified this for nothing. Like, you have not verified this.
Fire Festival. Fire Festival is another great. Fire Festival is another great one, right? He did all these things. I feel bad for the people who paid and got on those flights. And when they got there, they got stuck. I'm never mad at how people spend their money. Other people want to be out here saying that's what they get for spending their money. Shut up. They got that money. Let these people spend their money on what they wanted. They spent $20,000 so that they could get an upgrade and have a cute little yurt or whatever on the beach. Like, I'm not mad at that. They got on the flight. They got on the bus. They got over there and it was FEMA tents. I feel bad for those people. They were locked into the airport. I feel bad for those people. But those investors who invested and gave him money just off the quality of his word, I don't feel bad for them. I mean, I think he broke the law. I want you to do people break the law. I want you to do your time. But as far as like feeling bad for the victims of the crime, I don't care.
Especially when you have not did your due diligence. I feel like you did not do your due diligence. Check on him. Know whatever. You just listen to what he said.
I didn't write you a bad check. You know what I'm saying?
Like that's what I'm saying. It's like you did not, and I feel like this is what happens when people feel like a person is at a certain level or they're certain from a family background, all of these things. Like, you give these people a pass when it's like, oh, because I feel like people think they're like, you end up thinking you're doing something to benefit you, but you end up doing something to not benefit you. Yeah. Because you're like, oh, I'm going to do this favor for this person, The word
of God tells us not to show favoritism. I'm going to just say that. Like, you think the word of God doesn't apply, it literally applies all the time. The word of God says, do not treat the person who looks better, who looks like they have more money. Don't give them the best seat in the house. Don't be giving them that. And then you're treating the poor person, making them sit in the bag, making them sit on the floor. The word of God cautions us against judging people by how they look and mistreating people according to what we think they have. Now, y'all better listen to this good word. Now, this is how you avoid that as much as possible. Yes, there's always going to be criminals. People are always going to find a way to cheat you. Black, white, and in between. Okay? Like, nobody's safe. Everybody's got somebody that is represented in the criminal system. Everybody committing crimes out here. Men, women, kids, everybody. Christians, non-Christian, everybody out here committing crimes. Cool. How can I hedge against these things? By actually living according to the values that I say I have.
Yeah.
Right? I want to actually live according to the values that I say. And people say things like, oh, well, they gave a lot of money. Is it charitable if I rob your house? Do you still consider that charity? If I come into your home and I take your safe, and then I give 10% of what was in the safe to charity or the church, do you still consider me a philanthropist? If I burn down a building, right? I burn down a building for insurance fraud and I get a check and I give 10% of that fraudulently earned money. If I sell people into sex trafficking, human slavery, if I'm a pimp and I give 10%, 20% of what I got to a children's home, to the hospital, do you consider me am I, but they're good people. They gave money. Are they though?
No, that level actually kind of pissed me off. And I'm like, you actually never, it's like my heart breaks, I think, more so just the whole thing. But in general, it's like, but look what we did. And we're like, yeah, it was stolen money. Like, it's not even your money to give. Like, what are you doing? I just think that's so jacked up. And then also when your family does this, right? If someone that you're related to gets in trouble or whatever, some people always look at you like, oh my gosh, well, you're their daughter, you're their cousin, you're their whatever. You should have known. A lot of times you're in the dark too. You don't even know what's happening. Right. And so now like their kids are being affected by this of not even knowing what their parents were doing to keep up a lifestyle. We just had a conversation with our
they're
boys.
Probably not talking about it over dinner. Hey guys, yeah, we went down today. What'd y'all do today? Oh yeah, it was great. Great, Savannah. Well, your mom and I, we talked to our accountant and we've decided that we're going to defraud the IRS. Like that probably didn't happen over dinner. People stopped.
No. And it's like how many years you went of doing this stuff and then you did something one time, you're like, well, it was fine, right? We kind of got away with it. Nobody knows. You do it again. And so years later, it will catch up to you. You cannot continue to do this stuff. Yeah.
And I think too, a lot of times when people get to that certain position, when they get to this, highfalutin, a lot of times they don't even, I feel like sometimes, and I feel like this is what happened with the Chrisleys, like they lied to themselves. Like what they're doing, they're like, oh, we're just fudging little numbers, blah, 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 whatever, right? Yep. And it's like, you keep on lying to yourselves like, that's okay. We just make, like, because there's even been conversations where they've been telling their accountant.
No, you froze.
Oh. No, she didn't. She's fine. It's Amber.
It was me. Okay, I was like, okay, so repeat that. So you said what?
There are even conversations in the court case that came up where they were like telling the accountant to like make it, basically do what you got to do. Basically, do what you got to do to make these numbers right, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like those instances where it was like they probably was even not tricking themselves, but lying to themselves, and then like, oh, it's no big deal when. Like you said, for years and years and years and years of doing it, now just you get away with it, it just gets easier and easier for them to continue to do.
And it all started with them not even paying their taxes, right? It's like, if you owe the freaking government money, they will get their money. I don't care. I mean, eventually. You just have to think about eventually it just takes them a while to find stuff, right? It's not like, oh, boom, it pops up in the system. But I'm like, that is something you are not playing around with. Like,
it's not just about not paying your taxes, right? Like, I want people to understand the level. It's not just like, oh, I have a tax bill and I'm on hard times and I couldn't pay my taxes. I couldn't pay my tax bill. It is a defrauding.
Yeah.
Right.
Defrauding.
It's an evading. I didn't just not pay. I didn't just get a tax bill. Entrepreneurs out there, you had your first $100,000 year. You made 150 grand. And then at the end of the year, you got that tax bill and that tax bill was 10 grand. And then the following year, you didn't make as much. And so you're struggling. I just saw the new tax brackets for like income for married people or whatever. Like you could be paying 10 grand plus 22% over anything you made over $89,000, right? So you just were not prepared. It's your first year. You didn't know. Y'all don't have to be out here shaking in your boots that you're going to go to prison. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, and this is what the law is showing, right? This is the case that's being made, that they intentionally had the mindset to defraud the banking system, to defraud the IRS. Not, I don't have the money to pay. I didn't pay it, but I've been doing things and maneuvers to make myself appear like I'm unable to pay, or like I don't owe it to pay, or like I did something with the money that I didn't do. I'm tricking you.
Yes.
Shout out to Cruz. I'm fooling you, right? I'm trying to trick and fool you. It's not, holy crap, I now owe the IRS 10 grand and I don't know how I'm going to pay it. It's finessing those numbers so it looks like I don't have to pay it because my intention is to never pay it, even though I got the money. So you stole money and you still ain't pay your tax. You stole money, you defrauded people, and you didn't say, well, let me get the IRS off my back because this is a monkey I don't want on my back. That's what I want y'all to be out here like, oh my gosh, I got a tax bill and I'm just paying. Y'all might not about to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about intentionally.
And we're talking about hundreds and thousands of dollars
over years,
millions,
years, right? Not just like this small thing. And I feel like I don't want this to be coming off as judgy, right? It feels very, very judgy, and I don't want it to come off as judgy. I want it to come off as like we can learn in one of two ways, right? In my opinion, you can learn by experience. So if I do something, touch the stove and I found out that it was hot, and so now I know not to touch the stove again. Yeah. You can learn by education. So maybe three ways. You can learn by education, right? Somebody is telling you, hey, do you see this thing? It is a stove. Do not touch it. It is hot. So I've learned that the stove is hot. Now I'm not going to touch it because you taught me that the stove is hot. I did not learn by experience. Or you can learn by example. Somebody did something that you could see. And so now, not from a place of like, oh, I'm not even saying, oh, it would never happen. My prayer is that I don't think that they started out as just these heinous people who just simply wanted to defraud and never knew Christ and are fake Christians. That's not, we're not saying that. We're saying that you don't know what it will take for your values to change over time, for the way that you live out your values to change over time. And since I can see that it happened to a family that seemed very wholesome, a family who had values, a family who had a belief system, since I could see that it happened to them, it's possible that something like that can happen to me. What are the parameters that I need to put in my life? What are the checks and balances that I need to have in my life so that I can, protect myself from going wayward? You don't know what kind of season they had. You don't know what happened in their marriage. You don't know what happened in their life. And it's so easy to be like, oh, I would never do that. I'm trying to tell you, I'm not saying that kind of stuff. You could lose your mind and do stuff you never thought you would do. Right? You could have a psychotic break and do things you felt like you would never. I would never act outside. No. Don't say that now. Say, let me look at this. Let me look at this situation, this tragic thing that has happened, and let me see, how can I set myself up? Well, first of all, I'm not just going to be believing people because they look good and they sound good and they say they're Christian. I'm going to do my due diligence in who I do work with. Right? Boom, that's me from the banking system. The second thing is I'm going to ensure that my value, that I put some things up so that the value of my own life and how I see myself and my worthiness as a dad, as a wife, as a mom, as a whatever, does not come from the house that I live in. I'm going to surround myself with people who are going to love me when I can afford to live in a gated community, and who are going to love me even when I have to downsize, even if it comes to that, right? Like, so this is not about, it's like bashing Morphe or bashing the Chrisleys. I just feel like, I don't know, I don't want it to come off as judgmental. We're just having conversations about brands that we've watched, that are trending, things that are going on. These are life lessons. How can I learn from this? Open your eyes. Like, how can we learn from this? I just wanted to make that clear. Like, we are not saying, they so horrible. We're not saying that. We're not.
No, absolutely not.
No. I feel like that's just all that's on my feed right now. Another thing, I watched Jack Ryan last night. Finally, 2 more episodes, maybe 3 with Alan. I was like, if we don't watch some of these episodes, I tell you, I'm about to watch them by myself. That show, girl, it had me. I literally got out of bed. I checked every window in my house.
Oh my goodness.
You know how you can lock and do the extra locks on the side, right? All of them. And I even shut the curtains. I never shut my curtains. I was like, draw the curtains.
Okay.
I literally.
First of all, we talking about friends. We're talking about real life stuff. Don't be acting like Amber. We saying learn lessons from real stuff that's happening.
Not TV. Wait up.
But it can happen.
Don't listen to Amber. I'm not telling y'all. She's talking about she's never leaving the country. Don't. Listen,
never.
y'all gotta have some wisdom.
What?
I don't actually need to. I'm fine to stay in the U.S. I can see blue water, white sand in the U.S. Hawaii, hello.
Listen,
I don't need to go to another country.
Listen, now she ain't going to another.
Wow.
This Jack Ryan
in America.
This Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan got her saying that.
Girl,
No.
it is so wild. I cannot even.
I told her I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Bali in September. She's like, oh, have fun with that. I cannot. So we're gonna end this episode before Amber have y'all living underground somewhere, doomsday prepping.
In a bunker.
I think this was good. I don't know. I didn't know where it was going, but I think this was good. Y'all make sure y'all are sharing this.
Yeah.
Hang out with us. Tell people about us. Y'all know y'all loved it.
Yeah, this was the first episode. We didn't talk about what we did on the weekend, so we'll hit on that next week.
No, we won't. No,
okay, we won't. Just kidding. Just
because we're not gonna remember.
That's facts. Actually, like I don't know what I did.
Exactly.
Yeah, so listen, you guys, YouTube is a hot spot, right? We have it. If you want to see the visual of this and actually see us, you can. Every single week, you can go ahead and binge us as well. So go ahead and make sure you do hit subscribe. Turn on the bell. Every time there is an upload on a Friday, you'll get that notification, but we upload every single Friday. But make sure you do give us a 5-star rating and share this with somebody that you just know needs a laugh or just needs a squad, because that's what we are right here. So we're excited to get to know you more. And yeah, see you on the next episode.
Love y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out with us, y'all. Later.
Yeah. Peace.